Greetings and welcome back to Book of Shadows. Once more, in the last episode we finished chapter 2. Mayu died as she did before, this time in a more gruesome fashion. And now we are on to chapter 3 with this encounter, and this chapter will have very little gameplay on it. So it will be a lot of storytelling and dialogue. But do not fret, there will be a lot of wrong ends. Let's jump right in.
天神5番地の
As we can see, we will be playing as Satoshi. Excuse me, my...
これ23だよな。それとも33か？まったく山崎先生の字は読みづらいな。
Happy fun times, we are not in Heavily Host. This really wasn't my day. I knocked over my alarm clock this morning and of course it stopped working. The very last pork sandwich sold out right before my eyes during lunch, and I was roped into a favor when I happened upon my homeroom teacher, Mr. Yamasaki, long after school day had ended. So now, like it or not, I was on my way to deliver some notes to Miss Yui, our homeroom TA, which is teacher's assistant, who was out sick with a cold.
後でゆかに謝らないとな。
Indeed.
今日は早く帰ってゆかの買い物に付き合ってやる予定だったし。
Yeah, we all know that Yuka will be like, "Oni-chan, you lied!"
天神5番地23の11。ここか。
天神小学校。
これが6番地33の77とかじゃなければ。だけど。
I stopped and compared the memo in my hand with the apartment building in front of me. It was 2 stories tall and looked a little on the shabby side. Probably about 20 years old. It didn't seem very solid, nor was it particularly stylish or chic. It was completely unremarkable structure in every way.
ここの207号室。いや、201?
I was really getting fed up with this handwriting, and from a teacher, no less. In any case, it seemed certain that the apartment was on the 2nd floor, so I trudged up the startlingly narrow, steep stairs. The metal staircase was thoroughly blotched with patches of rust. Why would someone live in such a rundown apartment building?
先生の給料ってもしかしてすごく安かったりするのか？
Yeah, well, they aren't that good, especially if you are just have begun a teacher. And the salary is not that good. The one thing... Never mind. I felt a little sorry for her, but in a way this place kind of fit her personality. With that thought in mind, I turned my attention toward apartment 201.
あ、ここが201号室か。でもゆい先生の家じゃないな。
The door plate for the room nearest the stairs had a name I didn't recognize scribbled on it.
ってことはこの奥か。
Passing room 201, I continued down the narrow walkway toward the end. Wandering along a road, the apartment building I'd never been to before made me feel kind of nervous. It wasn't like I was doing anything wrong, but my back still tensed up as I maneuvered around piled up strollers, plastic toys and bundles of newspapers. And then finally I arrived at the last door.
ここだ。
This was it. I breathed a sigh of relief. Sigh, not sight. The door plate for apartment 207 read, Shishiro. For an adult's handwriting especially, the letters were rounded and overly cutesy. This was Miss Yui's place, alright.
なんだろうこれ。
I leaned in to read something written in small script on the corner of the door plate.
愛病注意って、猛犬注意じゃなくて？ゆい先生らしいや。
So how exactly does one beware a house cat? Is it even possible for a house cat to be threatening? Oh, you bet. As soon as that thing gets its claws out, it's really freaking scary. At any rate, I'd confirmed beyond a shadow of a doubt that this was Miss Yui's place, so my errand was nearing its end.
それにしても山崎先生もひどいよな。風邪ひいたクラスメートにプリント持っていくならわかるけど、風邪ひいた副担の先生のうちに授業のノートを届けろって。
Yeah, that's kind of strange to send a student to take notes to a teacher, especially if the notes are classified information. By which I mean like test results or something.
うん、絶対におかしい。間違いなくこれ担任の仕事だよ。
Then again, I'm sure that Mr. Yamasaki is thinking like, oh, Satoshi, he's not gonna do anything. Which he isn't. He'd said he was busy with meetings though and really needed one of his students to help him out. But was it really okay to entrust a school student with confidential class notes?
これ生徒が読んじゃまずいノートなんじゃないのか？
Yeah, but you are not going to read it and we all know it, because you're Satoshi. You're the kind and caring protagonist that is completely boring, as per usual of any anime. My mind kept drifting from one question to another, and I'd become acutely aware of the inherent value in these notes I held in my bag. But tempting as it was, I just couldn't bring myself to look at them. Just as I said. Mr. Yamasaki put his faith in me after all. And I was stronger than that. I couldn't let this get the best of me. At any rate, I was here. I should have just been able to drop off the notes and be on my way. Putting all my doubts and misgivings aside, I rang the doorbell. And then I waited, and waited, and waited some more, but there was no answer.
あれ？俺呼び鈴をしたよな。ゆい先生！
I rang the bell again and also tried calling out, but there was still no response.
どうしよう。寝てんのかな。起こしちゃ悪いけど、でも心配だしな。
So why not creep into her house, man? That'll fix the problem. When we'd heard that Miss Yui was staying home sick today, we were all pretty disappointed. That's why part of me was actually a little happy that I was asked to run these over to her. I figured I'd be able to check in, see how she was doing, and let everyone at school know that she was feeling better.
けど会えないっていうのは想定外だったな。ゆい先生！ゆい先生！
先生。
反応なしか。ゆい先生。すみません。
She was probably sleeping or out at the doctor's or something, but what if she were hurt? I tried opening the mail slot and peeking in. I thought maybe I could get a glimpse of the room inside.
ゆい先生。
It felt kind of wrong peeking into someone's house without their permission. But I was legitimately worried about Miss Yui's health, so my conscience was clear on this one. Yeah, I don't think anyone is gonna care if they see you doing that. And there is cat, Monet.
ああ、猫。
Neko. But not Kuroneko. A well-groomed cat was facing the door and staring back at me. With its head tilted slightly to the side, it let out an adorable meow. This must be the cat I was instructed to beware. Beware. And since Miss Yui was always going on and on about her little body, I was pretty sure I remembered his name.
この子が噂のモレじゃなくて、確かモネ。
モネ。
そうだ、モネちゃんだ。へえ、綺麗な猫だな。
Monet is actually not a possible name in Japanese. Because words cannot end in T. Miss Yui talked about her cat a lot in class, so pretty much the whole school had heard of him. She even had some tins of cat food hidden in a shelf in the classroom, probably because she'd bought too much and had no room for them in her apartment. And actually we found those cat food in the first game when we returned to school as Yoshiki and Ayumi in chapter 4 ending. Yep.
モネ、モネ。先生はいるか？先生がいるんだったら起こしてきてほしいんだ。モネ、頼むよ。
How does a cat wake anyone up, man? By the way, you're speaking to a cat, Satoshi.
やっぱり無理か。そりゃそうだよな。
I just listened to that yappari murika. Murika. My shoulders sank, I felt defeated. What the hell was I doing? Yeah, ask yourself that question, man. I closed the mail slot and stood back up.
弱ったな。ゆい先生、どうしたんだろう。
Oh, she's fine. Though she could use your help, Satoshi, if you catch my meaning. That's disgusting.
どっか外出中とか？空いてたりしないかな。
Lost in the speculation, I placed my hand on the doorknob. By the way, doorknobs are a really alien invention to me because we don't have any doorknobs in Finland. We only had handles. The knob is down. And with a quick twist, I turned it and pushed on the door, opening it easily. And we are inside.
鍵かかってないのか。
How funny would it be if like Satoshi opens the door and suddenly he finds himself in Heavenly Host, and would be like, "What the hell is this?"
うわ、いけねえ。モネが出たら大変だ。お前のご主人様は不用心だな。鍵もかけてないなんて。
Yeah. Just think about if like Sachiko would have come in instead of Satoshi. Oh, that would have ended horribly. Monet's whiskers twitched as I called out to him from the entranceway. なんだ？その通りだにゃって。 Satoshi, that was the worst joke I have ever heard, and I've heard a lot. I'm sorry, you suck.
モネもやっぱりそう思うか。
Yeah, your intellectual level is on the same level as a cat. By the way, I don't actually hate Satoshi as a character, but you gotta admit that he's being a bit of an idiot in this situation. Here I was talking to a cat. Was this what I'd become? Well, at least he's aware of his downfall.
どうしよう。
I was feeling pretty uneasy. Not only had I peeped into someone's home, I'd walked in without a second thought. Moreover, this was where Miss Yui lived, alone, in other words, a woman's apartment. Yeah, that's slightly disconcerting, unless... Wait, how is this bad? Unless you're actually thinking of doing something. No matter how many times I reminded myself that I was here on an errand, I couldn't help feeling that I'd not only crossed a line, but leaped over it.
ゆい先生。
I tried calling her name one last time, but as expected, there was no answer. She's out cold.
どうしようかな。
Well, how about you leave the notes right there, man, and just walk out, man. It's that easy. I was trying hard to avoid being too nosy, but my eyes inevitably began surveying the room. Excuse me while I almost strangle myself, trying to adjust this cross. There we go. The apartment entrance led out immediately into the kitchen, and beyond that there was a sliding door to some other room. I could see light through the gaps. I strained my ears, but there was nothing to hear, no signs of life whatsoever. Miss Yui really must have been out. One more time. I tried calling out to her one more time just to put my concerns at ease. I felt like I'd seem even more suspicious if I stayed silent. Yeah, probably.
ゆい先生、持田です。
Still nothing. As expected. Maybe she was asleep on the other side of that door.
確かめてみ。いやいやいやいや。
Yeah, best not to wander into her apartment. God damn it. Shaking my head furiously, I cast out that sudden impulse. Just wait a moment. That was a terrible idea, pure and simple. Entering the apartment unannounced was bad enough, but walking all the way in, opening that sliding door and peeking inside, that was just too much, man.
っていうか、このタイミングでゆい先生が外から帰ってきたりしたら、俺結構まずい。
Yeah, if someone actually, yeah, think about it. If she came in and suddenly Satoshi's like inside. Oh hi, I'm not doing anything suspicious over here. I'm just checking that you're fine. That would be kinda suspicious.
じゃなくて、だいぶまずい。
Monet moved, as if in agreement. Panicking, I once again surveyed my surroundings. I almost felt like there were eyes on me, staring with disdain. But of course, nobody was there. Or is there?
あ、そうだ。書き置きを残していけばいいんじゃないか？
Indeed. Good of you to know this, Satoshi. Wondering why I didn't think of this sooner, I dug into my bag for some paper and a pen.
山崎先生から頼まれたのでって書いておけばいいんだよな。
Yeah, you don't have to write a novel for her.
俺のノートでいいや。ゆい先生
Crouching in the doorway, I ran my pen across the page. I brought class notes at Mr. Yamazaki's behest. Everyone has been worried about you. Sorry about barging into your apartment.
あと、不用心だから鍵はかけた方がいいと思いますと。ん？
As I was writing the note, I sensed a presence in front of me and heard a door open. Until just a moment ago, this house had no signs of human life in it, but now I could feel someone standing directly ahead. And a sudden change in mood. Standing and looking down at me.
Eh?
Fidgeting nervously, I put down my pen. Raised my head slowly. And saw a white, slender ankle. Ugh. Well, it seems like Miss Yui is home, after all. Shocked, I shot my head up, and there, standing before me, was Miss Yui. Well, now your little adventure inside her house is starting to seem even more suspicious, Satoshi.
Sensei.
She was looking right at me, but she seemed decidedly out of sorts. Her hair looked disheveled, her gaze was unsteady, and her pajamas were in complete disarray. She was like a completely different person from the usual Kempt educator that we'd come to know and love.
ゆい先生、俺勝手に入っちゃって。
I stood up frantically and held out the note I'd been writing. But we have to make this into a true anime scene. Because this is after all corpse party. Miss Yui was just standing there stupefied with a completely vacant expression on her face.
Sensei?
I called out to her as gently as I could. But, another but. She was really dazed. Looks like she's shell-shocked, or maybe suffering on PTSD. She seemed almost like a ghost. Maybe she's in Heavenly Host and this is not actually her body, but just her spirit. Or maybe her spirit is in Heavenly Host and this is just her body. Actually, I'm not gonna go there because that's kind of a spoiler warning.
先生どうしちゃったんだよ
I had a sudden uneasy feeling. Worried, I walked up to Miss Yui, grabbed her shoulders and tried to snap her out of it by shaking her. But instead...
うわ
this just seemed to make her cough. Yeah, and probably coughing on subtle.
先生
These were wet, productive coughs, and spit was shooting out of Miss Yui's mouth with each one. I frantically tried to shield my face from the spray, but my reaction time just wasn't quick enough. So now you're gonna get sick too. Nice. I put a hand to her cheek and found it thick with a slimy film of saliva.
Mm, 大丈夫ゆい先生
I don't think she's alright, man. Maybe you should ask what's wrong, instead of are you okay? Miss Yui hobbled back a little, then fell to her knees with a thud. Yeah, looks like she ain't Kenki. She had completely sprawled out in the hallway, moaning and groaning at the whole time.
先生
Wiping the spatterings from my own face, I leaned over and took a better look at hers. For some reason, reading this and listening to it feels kinda dirty. It was bright red. Strained breathing, a stuffy nose, and a visibly high fever to top of it all. Why can I read not? Visibly high fever on top of it all. She was sick as could be. I wonder why.
寒いのでも汗かいてるよ
I thought maybe her sweat had cooled her down, but then I realized her disheveled pajamas certainly weren't doing her any favors. With heart pounding a mile a minute, I face red as a traffic light. I set about buttoning her up.
ゆい先生俺のことわかる持田だよ
Sorry about that.
寒いならちゃんと布団で寝ないと出ないと治るもんも治らないって
Yep. But for some reason it looks like she ain't listening that well. She absent-mindedly extended her shaking arms like a zombie, slowly reopened her eyes and looked up at me. Maybe she is a zombie. Zombie. Okay, it's zombie now.
ゆい先生。
Oh, I skipped that. Sorry.
司くん。
え？うわ！
Well, this is developing quite nicely.
司くん。司くん。
And again, right next to my ear. By the way. Oh, not that. Not that either. Look at her pants.
え？
Miss Yui was clinging to me tightly. I couldn't move, I was frozen in shock. She began to weep.
来てくれたのね。司くん。
え？つかさ？
嬉しい。よかった。
先生待って、人違いだよ。
It seemed like I wasn't getting through to her at all. And the sensation of her chest was... Oh, damn it, Satoshi. Stop doing this. And the sensation of her chest as she held me was making it virtually impossible to fight her grip. I was utterly powerless against this opponent. I'd never realized before just how soft a woman's chest really was. As I was saying, this has to develop into a typical anime moment, so here we go. God, am I that weak-willed? I had to remind myself that Miss Yui had me confused with someone else. Mustering all the strength I could, I gripped her arms and tried to pry them off of me. But she was a lot stronger than I anticipated. And wouldn't let me get away. I just can't read today for some reason. God damn it.
怖かったよ、司くん。怖かったわ。
怖かった？
Yes, scared. That's a really familiar term because it's used in this game a lot.
まさか来てくれるなんて思わなかった。
うわ！
Flustered yelp. As she squeezed me tightly, I felt as though my upper body might collapse under the pressure of her softest parts. Well, that's nicely put, man. God damn it, why is this a scene? I was blushing uncontrollably.
ゆい先生、ちょっと離れて。
やだ。
先生ってば！
I struggled to wriggle free, but Miss Yui only grabbed me tighter. Our bodies were getting more and more intertwined. And every time I squared, Miss Yui would just pull me in even closer.
司くん。
うわ！
As her chest rose and fell erratically, droplets of sweat slipped down into her cleavage. You're probably wondering how is this in any way relevant to the story of Corpse Party. Well, it isn't, but then again, neither was the bath scene with Seiko and Nami. So yeah, let's just play along, shall we? I could feel the heat of her fever radiating off her steadily encroaching face, as well as the shoulders I'd grabbed in an effort to push away. And yeah, suddenly this seems like a completely different game from the last chapter, where Mayu and Nana died in the most horrific way possible. And in this one, everything is fine. Actually, everything is just more than fine for Satoshi.
そばにいて、司くん。お願い。
だから人違い。
Questions were swirling around in my head. Why was Miss Yui crying, and who was this Tsukasa person? Tsukasa. Mikoni Tsukasa. Or Tsukasa Mikoni. However you want to say it. But I remember, or rather recall, mentioning him, Tsukasa, in the final episode of the first game. But I was most concerned for the state of her pajamas, which had become even more disheveled during our struggle.
先生、パジャマ、ズボン。
あ
ずり落ちてるから。
司くん、あったかい。
ゆい先生ってばー。
Realizing that not a single word was getting through to her, I sighed resignedly. It's a weird word. I'd taken care of Yuka any number of times when she caught a cold and drawn a fever. But I don't recall it ever getting this bad. Oh, but I'm sure that Yuka would have preferred it to get like this. Miss Yui was unusually calm, collected and rational. Was usually, not unusually. Who would have ever imagined that a fever could leave her so thoroughly discombobulated? And that's a nice word. Discombobulation.
ゆい先生、ちょっと、もう。
I put more strength into my resistance and finally her arms relaxed just the tiniest bit. But her expression changed drastically.
やだ。
先生、俺は持田聡で司って人じゃ。
行かないで。やだ。
Miss Yui was acting like a spoiled child. Slipping out of the shoes I'd still been wearing, I again drew close to her sprawled out form. There was no way I could just leave her here like this.
後で気がついて怪しまないでくれよ。
Also, the thing with Nami and Seko is that we already know what their relationship is like, so the intro segment was meant to deepen that. As for this scene, this is Miss Yui and Satoshi, so there's no reason for this. Except maybe make it apparent that Miss Yui is rather awkward, a person. Which is another anime trope that a young female teacher is an awkward person or something like that, lives alone, even though she would easily get a boyfriend. Miss Yui let out a lethargic groan, perhaps in response to my quiet murmurings. At my wit's end, I grabbed hold of her and did my best to carry her into the back room. Oh, did you now? Gently wheeling her over to her unfurled futon. I then carefully laid her down, making sure I didn't drop her in the process. Then there was the matter of rebuttoning those pesky pajamas again. I hesitantly pulled up her pajama buttons and brushed away the stray hairs that were plastered to her brow with sweat. I'd done my best to avoid seeing anything I shouldn't, but I'm a guy, so my heart was pounding the whole time. Yeah, I'm sure that anyone's would in that situation. Also, I'm sure that there would be some rather disgusting people that would use this situation to their advantage. Miss Yui's pajamas were soaked through with sweat. She really might have been better off with a change of clothes altogether. But no, that would have been going way too far. Yeah, better not do that.
タオルとか何か拭くものでもあれば。
Noticing a convenience store bag carelessly tossed to the floor, I glanced inside.
なんだ、冷却シート買ってきてあるじゃん。なんで使ってないんだか。先生、ヒヤッとするけど我慢してね。これでよしと。
I placed one of the compresses on her headfoot. Seriously, am I dyslexic or something? I placed one of the compresses on her forehead and pulled the covers over her. Miss Yui appeared almost instantly relieved. She exhaled contentedly and her breathing became more relaxed. Finally, she was asleep. And there's Monet. Kitty cat. I actually have my own cat right here beside me. But this one is orange in color. Even in sleep, Miss Yui seemed to be suffering. Maybe she's in Heavenly Host. Ooh, what a plot twist.
モネ。なんだ先生が心配かだよな。俺もここまでひどいことになってるとは思わなかったよ。
Monet had coiled up on my legs without me noticing. I began absent-mindedly speaking to him. He mewed in response and our conversation ended there as my gaze was still fixed squarely on Miss Yui.
さてどうしようか。ゆい先生。俺このまま帰っても大丈夫？
Well, looking at the fact that she's holding your leg, I don't think she wants to be alone. She wasn't in any condition to respond. But...
ゆい先生。
Miss Yui's hand slipped out from under the futon and was gently grasping my pant leg. 'Her grip was much weaker than before, but I knew I'd probably regret it if I went home now. Miss Yui just seemed really lonely. That's what happens when you're alone.
仕方ないな。
That made no sense. Without disturbing Miss Yui's hold on me, I took a seat beside her. For the time being, I'd figured I'd watch over her and make sure her condition didn't worsen. Occasionally, Miss Yui's breathing would become ragged and she'd furrow her brow. She was in pretty bad way. In a pretty bad way. Wasn't there anything else I could do? I glanced quietly down the hallway. I'd noticed when I carried Miss Yui there that the kitchen near the entrance was perfectly neat and tidy. There wasn't any indication it had been used that day at all.
飯食ってるのかな？
Probably not. Not in that state, in any case. Monet's gaze shifted suddenly. I followed it and saw pet bowls laid out in the corner of the room. One dish was filled to the brim with water, and the other was piled high with dry cat food.
なるほど。モネはちゃんと食べてるんだな。
Well, at least she's taking care of her cat, despite her own condition.
熱出してあんな状態になってても、お前のことはちゃんと考えてくれてるんだな。
Yep, exactly.
でもさ、ゆい先生、まずは自分の食事の心配をしようよ。
Indeed. Before you can help anyone else, you need to help yourself first. I shook my head at the whole situation, then glanced down at Monet, who was tilting his head as if trying to understand me. I broke into a wry smile. When I'd pull out the cold packs, I did notice some cheap convenience store food in the bag as well. I guess that was going to be her food for the day. Not exactly the best stuff to eat when you're sick.
米と、あと卵くらいはきっとあるよな。卵がゆでも作ろう。
Tamaguchi. Egg porridge. That sounds pretty weird, but then again, Japan, masters of weird food and drinks.
先生。
Which somehow taste really good. Her face was bright red and her half-pained, half-contented noises provided me with no clear-cut answer to my question.
仕方ない。ゆい先生の代わりに、モネに許しをもらおうかな。モネ、キッチンを借りていいか？うん。ありがとう。
I don't think Kat's testimony is enough in the courthouse, Satoshi. Monet's cries helps assuage my guilt over entering a woman's apartment and borrowing her kitchen. Sometimes the words they use in these translations are really weird. Not that I had any reason to feel guilty, I don't think anyway. I mean, circumstances were what they were. Still, I had this nagging sense that I should have somehow felt bad about what I was doing.
ゆい先生、ごめんな。 ちょっと離れるよ。
One by one, I gently peeled off. Each of the fingers latched onto my pant leg. The expression on her face changed as I was doing so, from contented rest to mild annoyance, but there was nothing to indicate that she might wake up.
よし、作るか。
Yosh. As I stood up, Monet moved happily and began tagging along at my heels. And Miss Yui, now resting by herself in the bedroom, let out a sudden sneeze. And now we go back in time. Because now the real fun begins. Book of Shadows, episode number 3, Encounter. But who encounters who? We shall find out.
ちょっとゆい
Masako, Tomae.
かかったよ今くしゃみ
That's a fun name, Kanna.
ごめんごめんなんだか鼻がムズムズするのまったくもうティッシュあれどこやったっけああなければ私の使ってよせめてものお詫びやったじゃあ私使う私も持ってないよティッシュちょうだいはいサンキュー
Thank you.
あんたたちねティッシュくらい常備しときなさいよ
That sounds a bit like Mayu.
面
Maybe the same
目ない
voice actor.
まったくそれで何の話だっけそうそうだからさとうとう3年になっちゃったよねって話
Where are you now? Because, okay, now they're in junior high. Which means that Yui is 17 in this instance.
はあだねあと1年で卒業か卒業もだけど私たちそれよりもっと考えなくちゃいけないことがあるじゃない
Yep.
進路よ
Exactly, because you go to school for your careers. You gotta think what you want to do and then choose your school path based on those, or alternatively you choose your school path based on the skills you're good at and then choose a career that complements those skills. At least that's what I'm doing.
いや聞きたくない正直さ進路相談何回受けたって将来のことなんかはっきりしないっていうかさだよねどうするかなほんとねえゆいはもう進路とか決めてる実はねもう決めてるんだ
Fine job.
なにゆい何になりたいの私はね私の名前は宍戸ゆい17歳将来の夢は先生になること
It's a nice picture.
あまりよく考えずに人のことに首を突っ込んでは空回ってることが多い私だけどでもそんな私でもきっと頑張れば夢が叶うって信じてる
With hard work, anything is possible. Kisaragi Academy 5 years ago, as I said, 17-year-old Miss Yui. Or actually she's 18. Or maybe she's 17, either or. The cherry blossoms were in bloom and the rustling wind carried with it the softest... I'm trying to read this like a Shakespearean. The cherry blossoms were in bloom and the rustling wind carried with it the soft warmth of the season. I was a high school senior now, and was devoting myself to my studies in preparation for the day my dream could become reality. That actually sounds pretty poetic. And that dream was to become an English teacher. Despite her being an English teacher, we don't actually ever hear her speak English. My grades were on the fence for getting into the university I wanted, though. So my best bet was to score special recommendation from the academy.
はあ、よかった。急に呼び出されたから何事かと思ったよ。ある日の放課後、私は職員室に呼び出された。何かヘマをやったのかとか、成績が志望校に及ばないとか、そういう悪いことを言われるんじゃないかってビクビクしてたんだけど、私の予想に反して呼び出された要件はとてもいいものだった。
Good, everything is going well.
うちの学園からはライバルはいなさそうだから、このまま頑張れば推薦してやるぞ。
だってなんかやる気出てきちゃった。この調子で頑張らないとね。それにしてもゴミ箱ってどうしてこんなに重たいんだろう。
Maybe because it's full of trash. Just a hunch, man. Or woman, actually. Or not a man. I hope not.
ゴミ捨て場まで持っていくのも一苦労だよ。
なあ、
Take a wild guess who this might be.
突然声をかけられてゴミ箱を抱えたまま振り返る。それは今まで話したことのない男子生徒だった。でも
Nice hair, man.
見かけたことなら何度もある。彼は7組の三國司くんだ。
There you go. There's Tsukasa.
そこ、足元根っこが出てるから気をつけな。
え？
And of course she just trips on it as he tells her about it.
あー、
This guy is pretty much like me.
ちょっとそこ笑うとこ？
だってよ。
もうそこはさ、大丈夫かとか聞いてくれたって。
Sometimes it's funny how they say daijoubu. Like sometimes it's just daijoubu, and over there it was daishopoka. Oh, I get entertained way too easily.
悪い悪い。
あ、いいよ、そんな手が汚れるよ。
別にいいよ、そんくらい。笑った詫びに手伝う。
I don't know.
ありがとう。
うん。これで全部拾い終えたか？
もう大丈夫。
じゃ、行くぞ。
え？あ、
I remember it well, even now. This was my first time talking with Tsukasa, and he left a strong first impression on me.
ごめん、重たいよね。
別に。
やっぱり自分で。
いいって。はい、終了。
ありがとう、助かったよ。
じゃあな。
あ、ちょっと待って。
あ？
俺させてよ。
いい女のこれくらいで。
And don't you start thinking about all those things she's going to thank her with. You sick bastard.
いいからちょっと待っててね。
ん？
友達が増えるというのは嬉しいし、
楽しい。その相手が三國司くんというのも嬉しかった。司くんのことは実は少し気になっていたから。よいしょっと。
Most of the times I'd seen Tsukasa before this were in the school courtyard. He spent a lot of time there sitting alone on a bench. Even after school or during summer vacation, if I happened to pass by, I would always see him there. And after this little encounter, we'd go on to make many fond memories together. Yet somehow the image of Tsukasa that stands out the most in my mind is of him seated alone on that courtyard bench.
はい、どうぞ。コーヒー牛乳でよかった。
まあなんでもいいけど、サンキュー。
Thank you.
これは私からのお礼なんだから、黙って受け取ってくれればいいの。
義理がたいやつ。
Well, it's the clever tradition. We walked to the bench together, sat down and began making small talk. That courtyard bench was a sort of mystical place. The leaves rustled over your head, and if you closed your eyes and opened your ears, it felt as though you were in the middle of some forest. And then if you looked straight up, the sunlight poured in through the leaves and you almost felt like you were in another world.
初めて座ったよ、このベンチ。
なかなかいいだろ。
素敵な場所。
だよな。
No wonder Tsukasa
だ
comes
から
here.
なの？
え？
この時間とか昼休みとかよくここにいるでしょ。
ああ。
この場所好きなんだね。
まあね。
そっか。
Sakka. He actually talks like I do, like, yep, yeah, pretty much. The leaves rustled as a gentle breeze blew between us. We were both silent for a bit, but strangely it didn't feel awkward or uncomfortable.
聞かないのか？
ね？
いつも一人で何してんだって。
この場所が好きだからいつもここに。
そうだけどさ。
他に何か理由があったりするの？
ないよ。
This is so counterproductive. Aren't you going to ask me why I'm here? Well, you're here because you like it. Yeah. Is there some other reason? No.
じゃあ聞く必要ないじゃない。
Yeah, exactly.
そうだけど、ほら普通聞くだろ。一人でそんなんつまらなくないかとか、意味わかんねえとか、変わってるなとか。
Weirdo for appreciating nature once in a while. Okay.
そんなこと思わなかったな。ここが好きなら一人でいたって別に変じゃないよね。
お前変わってるな。
That's a nice thing to say.
いやそんな顔しなくても、今のは俺的褒め言葉だから。
Yeah, if I say to you that you're kind of weird, then that's a compliment because I'm kind of weird too. And I like everyone who is eccentric in their own way. Although it's a fat chance that you will actually meet me. Unless you're like one of my friends or my girlfriend or someone.
変わってるが褒め言葉？
そうそう。
なんか納得いかないな。もう。
The expression on Tsukasa's face was a dead giveaway that he really enjoyed talking to me. And I've always loved the feeling I get when I know my words help brighten someone's day. I must have been sporting one hell of a goofy smile at that moment.
本当はさ、この学校でもっと好きな場所があるんだよ。
But I'm not gonna tell you.
どんなところ？
秘密。
Exactly. It's my special place.
とっておきだからな。
Oh damn, I actually remembered what he was gonna say.
ってことは、そこも超素敵な場所なんだよね。
Yes, it will be, it must be, it is.
あ
And it will be actually, because we all know where this episode is ending up.
いいな、どこ？気になるよ。
あ、ダメ。そう簡単には教えない。それに、いつでも見れるってもんじゃないんだ。
We will
そこの
need
景
to
色。
be there at correct timing for it to be amazing.
司くんは笑いながら紙パックのジュースを飲み干すと、ベンチから立ち上がった。
コーヒーをおごってもらったしな。ついでに教室まで運んでやるよ。
いいの？
ああ、
ありがとう。あ、私のクラスはね。
4組だろ？知ってるよ。
Well, that's creepy.
シシドユイっつったら有名だからな。
Well, okay, that's not creepy anymore.
どうして？
Tsukasa is well informed.
今から先生みたいな女子がいるって、12クラス全部で有名だよ。
それから私と司くんは何度か中庭で会っては話をした。校舎。
Damn it. Sorry.
あ、またお前コーヒー牛乳かよ。
うん。
好きすぎだろコーヒー牛乳。
そんなことないよ。
1日に最低2本は飲んでるくせにか？
So what? I drink 4 mugs of coffee a day. It doesn't get old.
なんで知っ
I'm
てるの？
not addicted to coffee. Don't you even dare say that.
自販機でいつもそれ買ってるの、ここから見えるんだよ。
Miss Yui, please open your eyes. The bench is right there and the vending machine is right there. It's easy to see.
ほら、そっち見てみ。
Yeah, exactly. Tsukasa is like, yeah, it's right there.
本当だ。
Yui, are you blind? Mayhaps.
昼休みも放課後もいつもシシドがコーヒー牛乳買ってるのバッチリ見てたからな。
そんなことを言ったら、私だって司くんがここのベンチに座ってるのいつも見てたよ。
いや知ってるけどなん
Oh, sorry.
お互い気になってたんだなって思ったから。
It's a sign of true love. No, it isn't, but let's just pretend it is so this will get even sweeter as time goes on.
なんだそりゃ。
中庭での会話はたわいのないものがほとんどだった。教室で友達と繰り広げる会話みたいにあんまり中身がなくて、でもすごく楽しくて。この場所夏でも結構涼しいね。
夏とか言うな。
Oh, you don't like summer.
あれ、夏嫌い？
夏季講習が目前に迫ってたら誰でも嫌いになるだろう。
Well, okay, I get your point, Tsukasa. And agree wholeheartedly.
まあね、私たち3年生だもんね。夏だからって遊んではいられないよね。
お前は随分と楽しそうだけどな。
私は夢に近づいてるって実感できて嬉しいよ。
ふん。
私ね、人に勉強を教えるの好きなんだ。頼られるのも好き。
なんで？
お姉さんになった感じがするからかな。ほら、私一人っ子だし。
ああ、うん。まあ、頑張れば。
はすっごいどうでもよさそう。
Yeah, good luck with that. Okay. Yeah, Tsukasa doesn't really care. But the good thing is that he doesn't really care. So it's like kind of like minus plus. Counters itself out.
だって人事だしな。
Yeah, part of your personality.
そんなことを言いながらも、司くんはやっぱり優しかった。だって、私の夢を笑ったりはしなかったから。
True friend, then.
先生になりたいって夢を話すと、大抵の人は笑ったり、茶化したりで、あんまり真剣に聞いてくれない。
Yeah, it's like in elementary school if you say, I'm gonna be a teacher, everyone's laughing at you. Who would want to be a teacher? Lol.
だけど、司くんは一度も笑わなかったんだ。
Tsukasa is special in many ways. The season was quickly turning to autumn. Or fall, if you want to say that. Sob. After the school day ended, the senior floor was always a lot more quiet than its underclassmen counterparts. Everyone was off studying hard at the library or with tutors. So one day, thinking no one else was around, I sat down in a lonely corner of the hallway. Initially I had grabbed my shoes and left the classroom, intending to head home, but along the way I just started crying. I was overwhelmed. My sobs echoed through one end of the hallway to the other.
この日、私は無事に志望校の推薦枠に入れてもらえることになった。嬉しくて仕方がなかった私はすぐに友達に報告した。けれど、いつもなら手放しで喜んでくれるその子がふと。
Oh, sorry.
私の前でそんなこと言うんだ。まだ私は夢も何も決まってないのに。
多分私はひどくショックを受けた顔になっていたのだと思う。巴はすぐにハッとしたように目を見開き、慌てて謝ってくれた。だから私も笑って気にしてないよってそう言ったのだけれど。
But in truth, it really hurt you. Like a knife through the chest.
気にしてないわけがない。巴の言葉と表情が鋭い針のようになって私の胸を突く。
Am I a psychic or something, or I'm just really good at predicting these dialogues.
私考えなしだったのかな。
No, everyone's allowed to tell when they are happy about their accomplishment. You just don't overdo it. And in that situation, you didn't overdo it. If you say that, oh, I got the recommendation, I get to be in the university, yeah, the place where I always wanted to be. That's not being overly braggish. Tomo is just being a jerk.
他のみんなも同じこと思ってた。
I kept wiping the tears from my eyes only for new ones to take their place immediately. Why didn't I think of this sooner? So many people were still facing uncertain futures with no real goals in mind, and I was completely oblivious to it. I was the one with a dream, running around like the cock of the walk and blabbing about my successes and aspirations. I wouldn't blame if they hated me. Could someone that insensitive to the feelings of so many other people really become a teacher? Everyone makes mistakes, Yui. One time does not make you a criminal. Good men mean well, but they don't always end up doing well. Did I ever even have what it takes to begin with?
シシド?
And now that Tsukasa has drifted over, I think this is a good place to stop this episode for now. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.